And we're back. We are live on Randomly Ronnie Jr., the YouTube channel. But I gotta say, it's not just my YouTube channel anymore, and it's not just Real Housewives of Miami. My co-host with the most, Russell Ray,
Hey.
give us your YouTube handle now, because you got something going on, and we are recapping Jersey all the time over there.
It's youtube.com/@RussellXRaymond. So it's Russell Raymond because my middle name is Raymond. And like you multiply it like Savage Fenty, she threw the X in there.
Okay.
So we threw the X in there like Rihanna. Bad girl Rusty.
Okay, there we go. What did you think of the season? I feel very accomplished. It was 16 episodes, so I don't care how you break it down, and I want to give kudos to everybody. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other recappers and podcasters or whatever you want to call it that are watching this show and doing the same thing that we're doing. And we always say there's space for everybody, but I want to give kudos to each and everyone, but mostly us, because we did 16 episodes. It's not easy, but I'm very accomplished. What are you feeling like?
Well, TBH, I'm feeling sick because I woke up sick. If I sneeze at all or if I'm like sniffling, trust me, look, the show must go on, and I'm cooped up in the house, so we must continue through because we got fans. But I'm still a little like
wait, can you rate it from 1 to 10? Because I can say that it gave me a strong 9. Like, I still really like the show. There were certain directions that I didn't like, which we'll talk about later, but I still give it a 9. What would you call this season number 5 of Real Housewives of Miami?
I give it a 7.5. And the only reason I give it a 7.5 is because there was so much potential that wasn't used for storyline purposes, including Julia. Like, we just heard this last episode that Julia has a modeling gig, and then we didn't see anything come of it. So that was disappointing, but I'm also very excited to see if it maybe comes out next season. But definitely a 7.5, given we kind of had to focus on Lisa's divorce, which we technically strayed away from after a little while, but it was still the focal point of this season. Just like Real Housewives of New Jersey, the focal point is Teresa's wedding. So we kind of got to get through it, and then I guess we'll regroup next season.
Wait, so you think Julia's going to get another season? Is that what you're saying?
I do think Julia's going to get another season. And here's why. Not to capitalize on her and Martina's unfortunate series of events right now, but we love Martina. And so we actually want to see Martina come out on the other side of this battle from the stage 1 cancer that we found out about. And we definitely, we don't want to see her sickly. We actually want to see her doing good and thriving and playing tennis and doing all the things that she loves to do. So I think that would be a milestone, like in Housewives history. I don't think we've had anybody that we've dealt with cancer yet on camera, but there is a large population of cancer survivors and people that are going through this every single day in America and across the world. So I think that would be something to highlight in Julia's story. Like, this is how we got through this. These are the things that we did. We were doing ginger. We did these kind of remedies, and this medicine wasn't acceptable, so we actually flew international. Things like that, because we want to give people hope that there are ways to fight this and there are efficient ways to go about it. And so everyone's story matters, because every time another person beats it, that's just a step closer to science that we get to figuring out the cure for cancer.
May I say, outside of just that as the next step in the next part of the storyline, I'm going to say as a whole, in terms of the episode number 16, our finale, I really liked the episode. It gave me a little bit of process that we sometimes don't see. We don't see them doing things. And to be able to see, and we'll get to all the topics in a minute, to see, like, going off your point there. Now, is Julia my favorite? She hasn't really been. However, what you're saying did make a lot of sense. But to see, like, maybe this is that big nugget, in terms of Julia was always trying to find what felt right after being, a mother who now the kids are off on their own and she's an empty nester. That might be the connection. And we got to see Gertie doing what she does. We got to see Adriana, like it or not, pursuing what she wants to pursue. I'll even say I would love to see Larsa doing things. Like, we want to see people hopping around the city
Yes.
There's too many lost moments, and maybe it's harder to produce this way, or it's an easier, cost-effective thing to just throw them in a group all the time.
Mhm.
But I want to see them going through things. I want to see the ravishing elements of Miami. That's
Yes.
what's really good. They do it really well with the way they dress and the cinematography and the aesthetic. It's all there.
Yes.
Um, so I'm just gonna say this, and then we'll get started here. I thought this last episode was like really, really good. People that I normally am not that interested in
Mhm.
was more interested in. And I was very fulfilled with the way that it felt like we were a fly on the wall a little bit more.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like it's just a scene. Does that make sense a little
It
bit?
makes sense. We were
Yeah.
we were actually very much engaged as an audience in this episode, given the fact that it allowed us to enter those spaces that we've been wondering about. We were allowed to enter the space, what I've been asking all season. So thank you for giving me Gertie and her live events and really doing her thing. Finalizing her finishing touches on her event that she threw for the girls, the melting pot event. Those are the things that I've been wanting to see. So now I'm very grateful that this happened. I mean, the neon signs, individual names, like, come on, like this is what we wanted as an audience. And I
Do
mean,
you want to know how I dropped the ball?
what?
Big time dropped the ball.
Tell us.
Huge. Ronnie, randomly Ronnie.
Tell
I
us.
have a neon sign that says randomly,
Do you
and
really?
I do have it. It's fairly new. As you know, I produce several podcasts. I always talk about that. I mean, it feels like I never have a break. You can see from the screen, there's a lot of different involvements I do within the podcast space, as well as lately I've been consulting for a handful of people, and I do a little radio on the side too. So I'm just a little exhausted, but still, that's no excuse. I literally have an orange randomly neon light that will be used for a different studio. And I just didn't have it ready here today with, with
Oh,
with with this episode. So I feel a little silly. But to your point, yes, Gertie, she stepped in it and she Gertified that event. And it felt very valuable for us to watch that. Let's go off the top of the episode here and get started. I can't believe we're here. Episode 16, round of applause for anyone who supported and watched our episodes. We have worked very
yes.
hard.
The
I
real
mean,
MVPs.
yeah, and it's a graduation. And again, going back, if you are catching us now and you're like, oh, I really like their style. Hopefully you do. If you don't, we don't give a damn. I'm kidding. No, but for real, we have a lot of episodes that we also covered. So I want you to just, as a notation, who deserves a mojito? So out of the part-timers, Marisol, Kiki, or Adriana, who would you want to see go full time? We also have a little clip of Leah did make a cameo this season, but out of the women that didn't, from back in the day that didn't come onto the show now, Karen, Anna, Christy, or Joanna, who would you want to see on the series, even just for a cameo? And one of the ones that did the best for, views and stuff like that was our really impressive breakdown. You chuckle. Our impressive breakdown of, Lisa's complicated divorce. And I asked some really like interesting questions and we just kind of bantered about it, but people really took to that. So I'm happy.
I mean, let's start right off the top. What really surprised me in this episode is Larsa and Gertie when they met up. Larsa was actually almost team Adriana in a way. I've never seen Larsa really support Adriana in the way that she did, mentioning, hey, we should be there for her. She's going through a lot. Like, I really like her as a person. I was not expecting this, and it was nice. And that's about it.
No, people try so hard to make it like Larsa doesn't have good humor and a fun girl type of vibe. I just feel like she is under a microscope like a lot of people aren't. And so if you just let it be, you can see that she has a good time. Now, is
Yeah.
she insanely opinionated? Does she say things that are within tough love? Like, some could say, well, that was a little lame that Larsa says, oh, let's support Adriana. But the reality is it was more about like kind of shutting her up a little bit. But I don't know. I feel like Larsa just expects everyone to be as tough and as confident as she is. And it's something that I really relate to because within the industry, working in radio and broadcast and television stuff, there's been maybe 10 years that I was a little shy and quiet. And when you're that person, you could tend to not pick on, but have problems with the people who are real confident. And then you get to a point where you get the confidence within and you're like, oh, that person wasn't that demanding. They were just showing love in the way they show love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a difficult industry, and you got to remember, Larsa's been under the microscope. Even if you want to say it was nothing by just being like the housewife to this great basketball player within Scottie Pippen, it still is something. It is a fine line. She was raising the 4 kids. I mean, all the, I don't want to say publicity, because at the time she wasn't a celebrity, but she was in the circles, you know.
Yeah.
Her expectations of people is just a little bit higher. So that is my Larsa defense when we think about this one.
You know what? Larsa embodies. Here's the thing. She's in a rock and a hard place, right? Because she has celebrity status above probably all the housewives on this show. But then she also has to step out of the shadow, right? Almost, of Scottie, even though she wasn't necessarily in his shadow, because she always kind of had her own thing. But she's she's kind of touch and go everywhere, which is great because it gives her an opportunity to really like broaden her spectrum and be what she's about. But you know what? Like, I really don't think she needs Miami. I really don't think she needs Housewives of Miami. Like, I think she did a great job this season. I think she was great in the prior seasons. I really think like Larsa needs to come out with a swimwear line because she's always in swimwear, and it's like it fits her body very well. Come up with the swimwear line, put it out there, do your thing, and then get a spinoff. Larsa in Miami, Larsa designed by Larsa, something of that nature.
Yeah.
And that's where I struggle with her on Housewives of Miami because I want to love her as much as you do, just in general.
Oh,
so I like her.
I love her.
I like her. But I just think Housewives isn't the fit for me, so I don't enjoy seeing her in that space. I think I would enjoy seeing her in her own space with her own creations, like they did in the first few seasons when she was walking through the house with the kids when they were younger.
Yeah.
Like, Housewives was shot a little different back then.
Well, can I tell you the problem? And we will move on because we got to get a couple topics here. And I think this is why I was so into this last episode. I said that there was a lot of moving and shaking, so to speak. There was a lot of going on within what these ladies were doing in their personal lives. I get tired of Beverly Hills is really bad at this. Let's just bring them all together for some, just decide what the event is. It could be literally anything. And then somebody argues and fights. I want to see, this is what I would like. If Larsa comes back, and I always say, Larsa, this show does not define her, so she could do 2 and goodbye. Larsa's the queen of every castle she walks in, let's be clear. So I'm with you on that. If this was her time to just do 2 seasons and it's time to go, I would be sad, but I would also continue to support and follow what she does.
Yeah.
But why, and I know it's maybe more of a production thing, you know, costs and stuff, but Larsa's worth it. Either give her that spinoff or give us the moments of her flying to LA, you know, being at a Laker game with her son. And maybe you could, if you wanted to be shady production, you could even do the complicated Malik stuff, you know, one of her exes. Her other son was at that big basketball game. I think I said it before, Canyon something or another, where it was the 20-year anniversary of LeBron. It was LeBron and Carmelo Anthony. Look at us talking about basketball.
Yeah.
LeBron and Carmelo Anthony 20 years ago, they played in this exact game, and now both of their sons were playing in that game.
Yeah.
And at that game was like, I mean, not that I gush over Kim Kardashian, but Kim Kardashian was there. Lala was there. Like, it was a very star-studded, it was an athletic space, but it was also very star-studded.
Yeah.
She actually wasn't there that day because she was doing press for Miami. But what I'm saying is, give us that complicated life. Let us peek behind to make it as if she's just a housewife or just a cast member like the other gals. She's really not, unfortunately. She's kind of bigger than the show. So it's a little bit of a disservice even for the other cast members to kind of try to spar with her when her life is a little bit bigger just by nature, not taken away from anybody. Anyways, she's the queen of my castle. Oh, I just love me some Larsa Marie. All right. Okay, we must move on. Sorry about that.
And again, that was a great moment. I love to see that she was supporting Adriana. And I mean, I think Adriana's problems are maybe a little bigger by self perspective than in actuality. So we'll get to that towards the end of the episode. But then Adriana actually had the moment again, a moment that I was waiting for.
You
She,
and we spoke about this man's name earlier in the
yes,
episodes. We said
yes.
this. Yeah.
Can you pull it back? Pull it back.
What's that? Oh, we do have a lot of clips usually, but we don't have that one. But we said
We'll do it
earlier
on the
on,
YouTube short, and people will see. We talked about it
we
because
talked about Adriana. If she wants to pursue the music career, these are some of the things to do. I was again, this episode gave me a lot from everybody. I loved seeing her pursue this dream. And even if Emilio, Gloria Stefan's, husband, I mean,
has
he
been,
is the producer of producers of producers of producers,
yes,
especially
yes, yes.
Miami, the Latino sound. I just was so into it. And I mean, I assume you were too.
Did you hear the demo that he did for Adriana? Like, did you pay attention to it? That's a good ass song.
Yeah.
You know what? I
Yeah.
told myself today I wasn't going to curse either, and I just did. But that is an excellent song. Like, if there's anything that's going to level up Adriana's career, it's going to be this single. And I'll tell you why, because it might not be exactly what she's looking for, but Emilio knows what he's talking about. So it's going to get her to where she needs to be in order to have those other major hits and potentially go platinum or go silver or go anything for that matter. And she would be the first housewife to do that.
Well, I don't know about all the franchises. You think I'm not
Minus,
really...
I mean, minus Candy Barres. Candy Barres has multiple
she
records, but she, as
music
as
industry
a
and then Housewives. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I
But
just
like
was
coming
so...
as just a housewife to be a
Yeah.
pop star.
I mean, I don't want to dream that big for Adriana, but I just think one of the things that it made me feel, I don't know if you've been like this, Russell, in your career. We must mention, because we love a good promotion. If you like the Peacock streaming platform, which I know you do because you're watching Housewives of Miami, you watch Ultimate Girls Trip, you're probably going to watch the next Ultimate Girls Trip, et cetera, et cetera. Well, don't be stupid and not go check out Russell's TV show. So this is what it is. It's called Create the Escape. He was one of the design experts and hosts on the show. And it was very much escape rooms, and it had parents and kids together. It was very wholesome television. And this is on the Peacock streaming platform. So I thought it was really awesome. Do you have any comments on your experience with that show, Russell?
You know what? Working with families was like so much fun. Number one. Number two, I got to build things and I got to do it on camera. So here's the thing. I'm out here living my dreams and I want everybody out there to live their dreams. Go support me. Let me know. Again, DM me, message me, show me your favorite clips from the show. Send me a little snippet. Give me a shout out. I've had some people do it across the country. I've actually been stopped in the airport in New York and someone was actually like, oh my gosh, Mom, that's him. And she's like, that's not him. And she goes, Mom, it's him. And then she's like, my son thinks that you're this person on television. I was like, yeah, that is me. And she goes, oh my gosh, it is you. So it was a feel good moment. It's a feel good show. I just love the aspect of, kids getting to go head to head with their parents, because we don't get that wholesome fun anymore like we did in the 90s. And now we brought it back. So go check it out. We love Peacock. We love the Peacock streaming network. And I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll see Ronnie and myself have our own after show on Peacock TV.
I mean, that's the way things are looking. We show up no matter where we are, be it on my YouTube channel, on Russell's YouTube channel, Peacock. If they have a check ready, we're ready. We show up and we
stay ready.
We try to do a really good job. I will say, the Queen of the Castle, I said, was Larsa, but we also have another Queen of the Castle who threw into the comments here, just showing some love. So we appreciate
Marsha. Hey, Marsha, welcome to the show.
And she added to kind of what we were talking about, why we love Adriana being successful and really pushing her career for any reason, but we love to see a Latina stepping in and making a name and growing,
Yes,
especially at Adriana's age. Marsh wrote, or is it Marsha? She wrote, love to see Latinos living their dreams. And it is something that is valuable. All the comments, I cannot keep up with the love.
Well, here's the thing too. I've mentioned this in past episodes, when you and I, before we started this series of Housewives, but the Latino community, it's surprising when people find out that we really only had 4.6% of all on-screen speaking roles, right? So when I landed my show, I had a 1 in several million chance of landing that, because our representation was so small. But now we're closer to the 6th percentile range, which is great. But what really caught people off guard is when I would tell them, like, do you remember when Crazy Rich Asians came out and it was a big deal because Asian representation in Hollywood is very low?
Mhm.
And they would say yes. And I said, would you believe it when I tell you that the on-screen speaking roles for Hispanics is exactly the same as the Asian community? And it would blow people's minds. So again, right now we're in the Latin explosion. We're seeing Miami Housewives come back after a hiatus. We're seeing Karol G taking off. We're seeing Rosalia take off. We're seeing Maluma, who's been in the game. We're seeing Bad Bunny, the biggest artist in the world right now, who got robbed of a Grammy. Yes.
Talk it.
Yes, he did.
Talk it. Yeah.
Even
Mhm.
50 Cent was surprised that Bad Bunny got robbed of a
Oh, yeah,
Grammy.
yeah, yeah.
And he tweeted about it.
I saw the
So
tweet, yeah.
again, we love to
And
we
and,
love
you
to
know,
elevate the Latino community, and we love to see everybody climb the ladder in a positive way.
so going off that, that is what made me happy to see Adriana push for the dream. Will it happen? She had these big, like, oh, this could happen and this could happen. Adriana, sweetie pie, I'm not really sure it's going to get that big, but as long as you're happy and you're connecting with the right people, this is what Russell and I said on a past episode. We said, this is what you do. You find your way in because you do have access. You know, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, you could be the greatest musical talent, but sometimes the lack of platform won't access you to these people. But because you, and this is smart now, Adriana or her team, get to Emilio, and you know, he might just throw you a solid just because it is a television show. You kind of get a little movement that way. But before we say anything about Emilio, I must say, back to positive Latino representation here, I have met the good old Gloria Estefan twice.
I know that's right. Come on, shake your body, baby. Do that conga.
So the first time was actually just moving to New York City and seeing her randomly on the streets. And of course, I was like, you know what? I really like what she contributed in terms of the art throughout the years and longevity, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna approach and take a photo. I was not too in her face. I was very like respectful. But the second time, the other photo on the right is not as clear. But that so the footage wasn't the greatest, but this was actually at the opening. I'm real proud of this one. This was at the opening, or one of the opening events. It wasn't the exact opening. It was one of the things that they were celebrating, where when she had the Broadway show, Get on Your Feet, with the great Ana Villafane and Josh Segura. I mean, talent on stage, talent in the audience. And I got to see Get on Your Feet, and we got to interview her where the show was at prior to the show. It was one of these just beautiful nights. So I cherish in that. I know it's a little bit of a tangent. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about Housewives of Miami, but to be able to be amongst Gloria and that excellence
and the greatness that comes with that.
Do we have time for me to tell you what she said?
What'd she say?
That was a bit explicit. I'm gonna say it.
That Gloria said?
Gloria, she talked the talk. She said,
this is a Miami Housewives exclusive with Ronnie Jr.
She said, and it's on camera, so this is not like a, I'm just bringing the heat.
It's not a TMZ moment?
No.
It's an E-News moment.
I would never. I'm above that. But no, she said something along the lines of how she's never really been with another man outside of Emilio. And I'm just like taken back. I was like, oh, Gloria. I mean, okay, wow, good for you. And she goes, let me tell you why. I says, oh, she's about to talk. She's gonna give me a story. And she said, when you have filet mignon at home, you don't need to go get Burger King or something like that, something of that nature. And honestly, you got to appreciate their long relationship. And again, for me to see Gloria in person, and for me to see Emilio on this TV show, and to inspire Adriana and the next 10 Adrianas that will be on another reality show or are in the studio right now, I think that was what was important. We must move on, but that was a big moment for sure. That's what I thought.
And you know what? Like, who's to say that Gloria wouldn't write a song for Adriana? Because Gloria wrote Let's Get Loud, which is one of Jennifer Lopez's biggest hits. And she's performed it at the World Cup. She performed it at Super Bowl. She's performed it New Year's Eve in Times Square. And like, Gloria Estefan wrote that song, and then she re-recorded it later on her Wepa album. So, I mean, Adriana has all the cards in her hands right now, and I wish her the best because she is right around that 50-year-old range. But who says, again, we're in this era of you can make it at any time. You can make it at any day. Judge Judy said the best. If you don't make it in your 20s, you can make it in your 30s. If you don't make it in your 30s, you can make it in your 40s. If you don't make it in your 40s, you can make it in your 50s. And she goes on and on to explain all these different people who've made it. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until her first wedding dress until she was 40. So Adriana, all the best luck to you. I hope this new demo takes you to the next level. I hope it elevates your career.
Yeah.
And I hope it cuts out that alimony and it makes that alimony look like chump change, baby. Okay.
From alimony to all my money.
Yes, to all my money.
There's some
all
support
of it.
here. There's some support here. Okay, let's move on real quick because we do got to rush through the episode. We have our Charlie's Angels moment. You know, it wasn't a Charlie's Angels moment, but we do have Lisa, who really was specifically the glue in this season in certain ways, because you saw that when Lisa wasn't there, it became much more divided. You know, whether I like Nicole or love Larsa, which I do like Nicole, let's not act like I don't. I didn't like when it was divided. And there's something about Lisa being the glue in the middle who will say, I don't know, I think we should give Adriana another chance. And she's our girl from back in the day, this, and this. Lisa, although her storyline wasn't really within the other cast members, that's really not what was going on with her. I just think she was so valuable this year. And I liked this moment is what I was going to say. I liked seeing Lisa sort of talk them into, you know what, maybe you got to give Adriana a chance. But they weren't having it. That's the thing. They weren't having it.
You know why Lisa is the glue is because she's common ground. Everyone can empathize with the fact that a man left his wife for another woman who's younger, and they're all in this age range of potentially being left for a younger woman because, you know, more often than less, we're finding, you know, men leaving relationships because they're going through a midlife crisis and they end up with someone younger. Now, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, so don't attack me. Don't come for me on Instagram. If either spouse is going through their midlife crisis, let them go through their midlife crisis. You won't go out and be doing whatever you're doing with somebody younger. Get it done, get it over with, and then you come back and you protect your family and you guard your family by all means. Either one of the parties, male or female. If that's what you need to do, and by all means, I'm not saying to have an open relationship. I'm just saying everybody goes through something. Figure it out. Figure out what works best for you. If you want to experience someone younger, then let your spouse know, you know, I feel like I'm going through something and I just want to feel young again by being with someone young just for a moment in time. And then you let it go. Let it go like Keisha Cole. And then just leave it there. Leave it at the door. Let it go. Leave it at the door. There it is. That's the secret to life. When you're going through something, you have to talk about it. And I think that's Lenny's biggest issue because he wasn't willing to address it. He just wanted to try and trade it in for the younger model. But I promise you, Katharina will walk away from him once she elevates her life and once she gets everything that she needs from him. You know, she's young. She's a model. She might want a little lift here, a little lift here, you know, a little something. I promise you, it's not going to work out in his favor. So I think, it's going to work out in Lisa's favor. Number one. Number two, Lisa has officially confirmed that she is dating
Jody, the entrepreneur.
Yes,
yeah.
Officially in a relationship with Jody, and that he could potentially be popping up at the Real Housewives of Miami reunion.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah. Well,
Lisa, I want to know
why
Lenny are both going to be there.
Oh, I don't think Lenny will be there.
You never know.
I just want to know why Lisa's doing these big press interviews and she's not talking to us first. Like, that is not the move, Lisa. But okay, do you?
I would be lying if I didn't say she didn't like some of my stuff. And
so next season she'll talk to us a little bit more, you know, exclusive interview type stuff. But no, Lisa, I'm happy for her. I am happy for her. It's going to be interesting to see.
And Jody is the catch. Oh, baby, Jody looked like me. Just fresh and cute and handsome and brown.
How are you gonna say? We must move on. We must. But we love a good self-confidence moment, though. So do you?
And I feel like Boo Boo today, and I just, you know what? But we're still rocking it. Look at this, bags under the eyes because I just woke up sick, throat all swollen. My voice sounds different. Sound like I got a little bit more bass in my voice. But we can move on. We're gonna go to Julia and Martina's dinner moment.
Which, can I say? The waiter was quite a catch. Yes, on the waiter. Much. Cast the waiter.
He said, "Pardon my reach." I was like, "Reach all you want."
But this was a good moment. Right. This was a good moment. We kind of already briefly spoke about how you had been saying, "Don't give us the modeling. I'm going to get back into modeling. It's a little bit different at my age," which was something we very much valued, both you and I, because we promote the idea of I mean, not just for women, but even our own struggles. I mean, I'm a little older than you, but I know that age and growing older within the industry, it gets a little more difficult. So we
Yeah.
wanted to see it, and it sounds like she's moving forward with that. That was great. Really, the connection for me was like was Martina, you know, and then of course we
Mhm.
know what Martina's going through.
Yeah.
I don't know that we got a conclusion with the baby adoption scenario, or wasn't a baby, but the
I think
adoption
given the
stuff. Did
scenario with the cancer diagnosis, they're probably putting that on the back burner because obviously Martina's health is most important at this
mhm.
time. Oh, excuse me, I gotta sneeze.
Oh, well, I could continue on. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of these things where what I liked mostly about it was that Julia did explain that, you know, the empty nest thing, which is funny because Adriana also mentioned something along that line too. So because I'm not a parent, I can't really relate to what that would feel like.
Hmm.
But the empty nest thing really was something that showed maybe the worst side of Julia.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, and it could be what they're struggling with here, I'm very much glad that they're finding ways to. I mean, she made the jokes about it, like, "Oh, it's getting hot and heavy." Like, I like that whatever it took to get there, they're getting there. So Julia's a harder view for me. I
Okay.
don't tend to think she's the funniest. I think
No.
she's like not even always nice. Like she plays I would never say dumb, but she plays a little naive sometimes.
Okay.
Um, but I'm okay with this. And you know what? We have to have our Martina on the show. We just have to.
And you know what? Here's another thing too is what we're getting with Miami that we're not getting with the other franchises is that these are old school Hispanic women, which means that they got married young, they had kids young. The only reason Dr. Nicole has a young kid is because Dr. Nicole is still young herself. But we're gonna see these women go through these midlife crisis on this franchise specifically because they were younger parents and their children are grown. So we're gonna see a side of housewives that we don't normally see. Beverly Hills Housewives, they marry old, they have kids old. You know, they're raising kids in their 40s that are just they're barely 2 and 3 at the time. But with these Miami Housewives, we're actually experiencing empty nesting for the first time because they had their children so young and they were those young 20-year-old moms back in the day before reality TV was a thing. And so I think Julia is also struggling with that is that she's from a different generation. She's from a different type of, I mean, I know she's Russian, but she's from a predominantly Hispanic area. And so it all kind of comes into play. Like she's just in her 50s and both of her daughters are in college. And she's going through what we normally see as middle class individuals that these midlife crisis emptiness syndromes happen. And I personally I don't think a baby would be the right move, and I am glad to see her and Martina getting back to the romance and to the them two type of uh situation and relationship. And just in time too, given the diagnosis, so now they don't have to worry about any type of friction within the relationship because they can just focus on Martina's health, which is great. Uh-oh, we lost you on the
One more time.
mic.
And it is what why is my microphone fooling with me like that? You know what you need to do? I'll tell you what you need to do. Time out. Time out. You need to support my Patreon.
Yes.
So, go to patreon.com/randomlyRonnie Jr. Also, if you want to support on YouTube, Russell's website, russellraysilva.com and randomlyronniejr.com will link out everything to the YouTube channel. But yeah, my microphone issue didn't really have to do with my Patreon, but if you want to make it rain, please do so. Back to the serious stuff. You are so right about that, and that's the thing. These we kind of, because we're going pretty quickly here on this finale. Gertie did talk about that. Like, this is the melting pot franchise for the most
Yeah.
part. You have beautiful Haitian women, you have the Russian women, you have
Yeah.
Lars's Iranian and Syrian. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's so much, and all of that is to be celebrated. So the melting pot concept was actually very good, and it's what makes the show really wonderful because we get to dip in and out of these different lifestyles and cultures and kind of have a show that mixes very well together. So I like
Yeah.
that. Okay, so I was very impressed with Nicole's moment on this finale. It told me so much more about what I already suspected and where her drive comes from.
Sorry, I
um,
had to turn off my mic.
oh, I think honestly, I believe that's why my microphone was off too. Because while you were talking, I had to sneeze. Okay, back to it. Did you take the Nicole scene as so powerful? I really loved the Nicole scene. It explained so much. Her issues, and I'm not like saying she has issues, but the things that she's working through are even as deep as like understanding her father. It
Yeah.
reminded me of the time. Did you ever watch the movie Lean on Me? And the star student that Morgan Freeman's character was really shocked that, like, when she was the star student was in the elementary school, the mom was
Yeah.
always around, but
Yeah.
by the time she became a high school student, she wasn't really around. Well, you look at it from that point of view, you're like, why are you not being there for your daughter, which is very much a hard thing.
Hmm.
However, she cried and she said, because of the things she was going through, similar to the father here, I didn't want you to see me like that. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so powerful. I mean,
I
did I
thought so
take
as
it?
well.
Oh my gosh.
No, I thought it was a very powerful moment just for someone to admit that they were living a reckless life. And so it could have caused damage, especially him mentioning that Nicole was run over by the car as a child. Like, that is a very serious situation. And the fact that he can acknowledge that he was living recklessly and that it did put his daughter's life in danger, I think gave Nicole a lot of peace within because she was harboring resentment that wasn't necessarily made up in her mind, but we all kind of create our own stories as to why we're treated or in a certain place with with anybody, with friendships, with our family, with our spouses. And it's really opening those lines of communication that now she's able to release, she's able to let go. And I think that's probably the most powerful moment that she's had this season entirely.
And a very big connection on what we know about her, what we're missing, why she gets, happy or upset about certain things. One of the things that struck me as well is it seems like, without having that, the therapist there as the middle person, you don't get to see the other side. You just are
Yeah.
like, well, no, this is the thing. I think the father, in some ways, maybe I read this wrong, he's kind of, the bar was really low, but
Hmm.
he has made changes for the better.
Hmm.
And I think he's kind of, I don't want to say he wants Nicole to give him credit for that, but I feel like he does want a little credit for, like, I am doing the best I can with the kind of person that I am. And
Yeah.
where she was looking at it as like, you were not maybe the best father. Here's where you, and she's very practical.
Yeah.
Here's where this error and this error and this error. But I think because he's such a playful person, he kind of uses that playful energy to get through everything. But at the core of it, he was like, I want a little credit that I do work hard and I am changing, and my changing ain't gonna be the best because
Yeah.
the bar might have been set low. He didn't say that, she didn't say that, but there is a little bit of that element. But it was very, very eye opening to really understand more,
It was
more.
It was honestly touching, and I was like, "Should I call my dad right now?" Like, when I was watching it, and I was like, "Maybe I should invite my dad over." And then I was like, "Maybe I should wait until the summer."
I mean, we make jokes, but these are the things that are connecting in terms of us watching the show. Because on some level, there's always somebody within your family that you have a similar issue, and you're like that
Yeah,
really got me. Like I said, he didn't say it; it's just how I took it.
yeah,
That he probably was like, you know what, I'm not where you need me to be, but you're not even giving me credit for trying.
yeah,
Like I felt that because I know a couple times I've had situations, and I'm not going to go in detail, but
yeah,
where I've kind of explained my issue with a certain relative or whatnot, and it would
uh-huh.
be like, well, I'm not perfect. I'm like, I didn't ask you to be perfect, but
Yeah,
like,
nobody
can
has to be
can
perfect.
we start with, like, some basics? And
Yeah,
you do need that person in the middle. And Nicole really, it just I always had that hard time with some of the episodes with her, and she was, what did she say? I'm a sarcastic bitch,
mhm,
but
mhm.
I feel like I know why now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. So I don't know.
That
Maybe
hits the
that's
nail right on the head. And you know what? I think you and I relate to this as well, just because I think every man at some point has a little bit of friction with their father because, you have your idea of how you want to be a man, and your father also has his idea of what he wants his son to be as a man. And so I just think, just in general, any man that watches this situation and this conversation between Nicole and her father, is it will be able to relate to this because, again, they say don't have children if you have an expectation of what you want your child to be. have children if you want a loving individual part of your life to grow with, because your child is not going to be what you want them to be. Your child is going to be what they want to be, and you have to support that as a parent. And so I think that was a very powerful moment just to see that play out on screen.
Very well said. Moving on to Parenthood and how complicated it is. We get kind of two scenes back to back, and then we get the party. We'll get to the party in a second here, but we do got to make a little mention of Alexia just taking knowledge, and we saw with the Demoya Foundation, we've already seen that event, that she does have to make a realization that she has to find what this looks like. She's not going to be around forever. Frankie has grown, which is very great to watch, and we're very proud to see that, but it is still a complicated situation. She has a complicated relationship with Peter, and we saw Peter's father as well. So let's just
That's
talk
also
about
Frankie's dad.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's talk about all of that. What were your thoughts seeing Alexia's side of things, and then seeing Peter sort of complain, I guess, and then the dad really showing up for Alexia, because that is, that's the mother of the kids,
My initial thought was, you're gonna laugh.
Uh-oh.
My initial thought was, when I was watching all this scene play out, was, dang, I want to go to jail and then come out and go right on TV. Not work so hard like I'm working to get on TV, but I want to go to jail and go lift weights and then come out and get right on television.
What is this man talking about?
The views. That was my initial thought when I saw this. I was like, wait a minute. You're telling me all I got to do is go to jail, then I can come out and get on TV?
The views expressed by Russell X Raymond are his own, and they have nothing to do with this here channel. My gosh. But you know what? You're being honest. You're being truthful.
But I will break down the rest. I will break down the rest. I will say, when it comes to Alexia, that shocked you, right?
Keep it all the way real.
That was my initial thought when I saw that. And it's funny because
when casting goes wrong,
laughed at me because I said it out loud. I was like, wait, I want to go to jail and come out.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was also like, I want to eat steak and have asparagus from the grill.
Yeah, it was an endearing moment with the father. It was. And how much is the father always like this, or was he really showing up on camera? You don't know. You don't know what Alexia goes through. But again, I'm really happy that he showed up and did kind of push Peter back, not push him back, but like push back on what Peter was saying, because Peter was very like, I'm through with it, this and this.
Yeah.
And the dad really did show up for Alexia in a way. And I don't know. I valued what we saw on the show.
Well, he was able to relate because that's what they went through as a couple when they were first dating. And,
very true.
And if Peter was looking at it with clear lenses, he was able to see like, well, yeah, my grandfather or my grandparents didn't want my mom dating my dad because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And look, my dad went to jail twice. So technically they were right in a long way. And as we see at the end of the episode, Peter broke up with his girlfriend, which is great. Because that
Peter
was a situation.
He's now single. Let's do a show called Peter in Puerto Rico. Didn't he want to go to Puerto Rico? I mean, I'd watch.
I would watch that for sure. I mean, he's giving you trunk. I bet you he'd look good in a Speedo too. Why did you pan the camera to me?
I know it was a technical difficulty. I don't know. Peter, I don't know. Peter, pumpkin eater. No, Peter has a lot of issues over the years. We just hope for him to find what works best for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so. And not only that, I would hate to see him move to Puerto Rico and almost abandon his family. I think it's great. Everyone should move away from their family and grow. But then I think in a situation like this where you have Frankie, your brother, you are going to fill the shoes of your parents after their passing to make sure that your brother is okay. So
and maybe he hasn't expressed what that feels like or what he stresses in that. And again, I mean, not to bring it back to therapy, but like you saw how Nicole just needed to speak with her father and somebody to, be in the middle and
mediate.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Peter tends to shrug his shoulders, lower his voice, and well, I'm just going to do this. But if you just express what it is that is bugging you about Alexia, his mother, I think there's something there. I think they can get through it. Alexia is a hard ass, but she's got a heart though. I like Alexia on the show.
What Hispanic mother is not?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I love her on the show. she shows it all, for better or worse. She shows it all, and that's what reality TV is about.
Yeah.
Not to go forward, but we got to move forward here. Tell me what you thought of the Gertie party. Again, I'm very apologetic that I don't have my randomly neon sign, which I have, but I don't have it on the episode today. Shame on me. But it was nice. It was a
First of
nice little.
all, these women are giving "Don't you want a Fanta?" walking into this party. So I just wanted a Fanta because I wanted to be refreshed. But they looked great. They were giving the epitome of Miami's fashion. They were giving bright, vibrance. It was very much on brand for where they're at. They looked great. I think Gertie did an excellent job in designing the space that she did, considering it was just concrete walls in a warehouse. And I think she dressed it up very nicely. I saw her in the element. I think her moment
Do you
was
have
ruined
a
a little bit
Do you have a
when
best dressed?
um
I kind of do. You're not going to agree. I
you
don't
better
think.
not say Larsa.
I mean, I like it, but that's not who I was going to say.
I'm gonna say it has to be between Kiki and Gertie.
Gosh, they look great too. I
Who are you
I
thinking?
just love a moment, man. I love a moment.
Who was the moment?
I was feeling so much Marisol.
Oh,
I was so into it. You know why too? You know how Wendy Williams used to say this back in the day. Women back in the day, they were shaped a little differently. It would
yeah.
not that Marisol is voluptuous up top, but this is. I remember Wendy Williams said this on the show once. She was like, "Yeah, I'm the shape of a pea." Because and if you remember, if you grew up in the '90s and Marisol partied in the '80s, women looked like that. It was like real skinny, tiny little butt, and it was like big up here or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just felt like the choice of material to be so chunky and big and that lean, not to be mean, but no butt having Marisol. It fed me in a way. I don't know.
It was more like
It
va va voom.
it just how she always talks about like moments from the 80s, from the 90s, like that's that girl, that's that
Yeah.
chick. So I just liked it. I don't know why I'm validating it or having to explain it. I just liked it. You know what I mean? I just genuinely was like, it's raw, it's over the top, it's not for everybody, and she does look like a pea, because it's all flat and it's like bigger up here. But I just thought it was style. It was style personified, in my opinion. But who am I? You know what I mean? Like, who
I think honestly, I think they all look great.
they all look
But
great.
my top two were Kiki and Gertie.
Yeah.
Because they got the makeup right and everything with their outfits, and everything just kind of flowed together.
Yeah. And
You know,
Kiki
they
was a
really made a
showstopper when she got
statement.
out of that car. When she got
Yeah.
out of that car, she was a showstopper. I loved
But
Kiki.
Kiki and Gertie always give us fashion.
Yeah.
When it comes, like, those two are probably the best dressed on the franchise,
Mhm.
like, by far. They go above and beyond to make sure that their confessional looks are on point. They go above and beyond to make sure they look great every time they go out. They know what works on their body. They know what works on their figure, their shape. They know, like, all those things they take into account. Or whoever is dressing them is doing a great job.
I'm agreeing with you. This wasn't even Gertie's best look, or maybe it was, but she did this right here.
Yes.
I mean, this was like she did this all season. Like her looks were
Yes.
I mean, I feel like she does this like with her eyes closed. She's just so, or her stylist, as you said, she really knows how to work her body on camera. Absolutely.
But
And
they said, we're giving you a moment on television. And she said, I'm going to take that moment.
yeah.
Again, I think the personality is a little bit of a stretch. Like, we're pulling a little bit too much out than what is necessary.
Yeah.
But showing up to show out, excellent. Killed it. Nailed it. Like, by far one of the best first housewives to come on a franchise to knock it out the park with their fashion and looks.
Quick question before we ask, do you think everyone's going to get along at this event? Why did Gertie have to hire, and I'm usually an advocate, I'm the biggest New York, all day, New York, every day, all day. But there was no good bartenders in Miami. Why did you have to fly the New Yorkers out to bartend? That was a question I had.
I think it's a status thing, to be honest.
Yeah, but Miami gets busy too.
But
But I love New York more than anything.
If you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So if you're coming from New York as a bartender, you are top notch, the best of the best. Not saying that Miami doesn't have that, but Miami is so small that, number one, they're probably like, I'm like, y'all bartenders are tired. I've seen you,
Yeah, but she could have put a couple people on camera. You know what I mean? Like,
she doesn't want to.
Oh, Gertie. No, it was just a question. It wasn't a shady thing. And again,
There's a couple people in the Miami Fort Lauderdale that I wouldn't put on camera.
ouch. And so we're clear. I'm
And I
always
know
New York all day, every day.
all day, every day.
But I was just more like, you couldn't find the baddest of the bad Miami bartenders. It's just a question I had. It's not a anything bad.
Maybe she's not originally either. Maybe she's originally not Miami. Maybe she originally came from somewhere in New York, and so she wants to pay homage to New York.
Again, we're never knocking New York because New York is.
But I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
was it
was just
necessary?
more like, but it was it was a flex maybe on camera.
It was a moment, yes.
It was like and I did it was to Gertify and make Gertifying seem like if you hire me for my party, you're getting the works. That's what it really was, and it was done beautifully. Okay, we are running out of time here. What's your overall thoughts of the event? We have a couple different things going on. We have Larsa deciding to be a little sarcastic and saying, I'm just going to tell Adriana she's amazing, which I live for a sarcastic Larsa moment. And luckily, oh my gosh, the sensitivity of some of the cast members sometimes, anything Larsa says turns into like, oh, she's a bully. She's a mean girl. I'm glad it didn't become Larsa's picking on this one. I laughed. It was comical and I was good with it. And then we had the other moments too with what really stuck, I guess, was Adriana trying to apologize and Alexia and Marisol not really receiving it. Here's my thoughts. Or do you want to go first? Let me let you go first. I want to hear what you say.
I will say that sometimes people just need to be gassed up. And I think Larsa was on the right track, whether she was genuine about wanting to gas her up just to shut her up or whether she wanted to gas her up because she wanted to give her something that she needed. I'm all about it because I think sometimes people just need to be gassed up because they don't see their own potential. I've had a couple friends tell me when I gas them up, like, oh my gosh, like I was not feeling myself until you told me. And sorry, I know my voice sounds a lot different, but that's because like I'm all stuffed up. But I wasn't feeling myself until you gassed me up, and then you gassed me up, and I was just feeling so confident. I walked out the door in my outfit, and I was stashing and slaying and killing it, right? So I think that's cute. When it came to Marisol and Alexia's responses to Adriana's apology, I don't entirely agree with how they received it because I feel like she really did go out of her way to give them what they asked for the past episode where they said she needs to talk to me, she needs to apologize to me, now she needs to show me. It makes no sense. Marisol is an alcoholic, so she just needs to chill and take a step down. Ouch. Because how valid is an alcoholic's opinion anyways?
Ouch.
Not very. So you can't tell someone I reject your apology when you're already bridging on the fence of your whole play this season was drinking tequila or drinking vodka and having a cocktail in your hand 24/7. So you need to be careful where you step because we're all teetering on the edge of making a good decision and making one that's detrimental to ourselves and hurting ourselves. So no one's going to say that you're going to be the favorite person next season. She's funny because she's a mess, right? So we agree with that. We like that. But again, don't kick anybody when they're down because when you're down, I don't want to hear the complaints. And I'm taking notes on who's kicking who when they were down this season, because let me tell you, I will rip into them next season when I hear them talking about don't kick me when I'm down. So I think that was a moment there. I understand Alexia's hurt. It's very deep. However, she does have to give credit where credit is due. And Adriana really did go out of her way. And Alexia's done her own wrong. Maybe acknowledging the fact that maybe I put you in a bad position this season because I brought up all these negative things about you and I really put you in the corner. And maybe you felt like you needed to elevate your attack on me. And I understand that sometimes as individuals, we say things that we don't mean. So I appreciate you going out of your way. I would like for you to show me characteristically that you mean the things that you're saying, but I can accept what you're saying because you really did go out of your way to acknowledge what I was wanting. And that was for you to come at me with an appropriate apology.
Well, damn, he sounds like a teacher.
You're welcome.
How do I follow up with that?
I charge $99 an hour. You can find me at russellraysilva.com. I'm considered a coach, not a therapist. So you can't sue me for being a therapist, but you can definitely pay me for being a coach.
Not the life coach moment that we weren't asking for, but we totally needed. Okay, but I will say I love everything you said, but I also think if you're Adriana, You made a point where you were saying, watch out because Marisol, you may have your messy moment next season. And I do get that. Where I have a little bit of a challenge is sometimes I feel like Adriana and some of the other women too, when they want to force the camaraderie, I think that camaraderie takes a little bit of time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Alexia has done wrong to so many people, that would be a separate issue based on each of those issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm the one who is receiving Adriana's, her moment, because she did say I was having a mental breakdown, et cetera, and she is trying to get through it, and I get that. But here's what I'm going to say that is a little odd and weird and different to me. If this is going to come from my viewpoint as the person making the error and the person receiving the apology.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you give me the apology doesn't mean I need to like I'm going to receive it and I'm going to say thank you and I really feel that with you. But if I need a little time, I need a little time. And I think that luckily Adriana didn't snap and go like, get really mad about that. And I was a little worried about that because I would have seen it as a non-genuine apology. Luckily, Adriana just kind of felt a little overwhelmed, almost a little bit, the victim again. But luckily, she didn't really go anywhere. But I really do feel like if you give an apology, your job is just to give the apology. How the other person receives it, and if they need a week to process, or if they need to talk to you in two weeks or whatever, I think you just need to chill because you're kind of negating the apology that you've given if you force the other person to like just wash it off. They may not be ready. And you also have to remember you're worrying about your feelings. You want to do that forgiveness so you could feel good about yourself and you could go to bed. You made the error, Adriana, right? I say that respectfully, totally respectfully. But you also got to understand, Alexia, this was, not traumatic. Well, it was traumatic. It was traumatic for Alexia. It was painful. It was hurtful for Marisol. So I'm just saying, I'm seeing a little bit of the other side of things, that you have to allow the people who you've done wrong to process it as they want to receive it. Give them a little time, a little bit of space. This is a television show. Obviously, there's no time for that. But I just wanted to contrast your opinion slightly on that regard, because that's how I would like to, when I'm giving apologies, I need to know that I'm just doing it to get it off my chest, to explain everything. But then outside of that, I don't get to control what the person thinks of that apology. You know what I mean?
By all means, I 100% agree with you. All I'm saying is that I wanted Alexia to receive it. Just receive it. That's all I need you to do.
And you don't think she did that? You don't think she did that?
I don't think she entirely received it. I think in a way she uncomfortably received it, but also rejected it. And here's the thing, because let me tell you, Bravo has a very, very, very shady way of the way that they edit, and I absolutely love it. When Adriana was like, "We're all friends here," and then they pan the camera to Alexia, and she did not respond. Okay,
she looked like a barracuda at the moment.
shady moment. Okay, we're here for that, so we appreciate it. But I just needed Alexia to receive it and be like, "Thank you." When she said that, I need you to show me, like, now you're giving multiple responses on something that you already requested. What you asked for was a genuine apology, and that's what you got. And now that's not good enough for you. So I need you to go back into your space and figure out exactly what you want and acknowledge that as well. Just tell Adriana that I sincerely appreciate you apologizing and acknowledging the hurt that you did to me. But what I need is time for myself, because I need to figure out what I actually want, because that didn't fulfill what I was hoping that I was going to fulfill.
On that side of things, and there's an example, I'm going to come up with it immediately once we wrap. There's an example. It's a reality show. Is it Vanderpump? Is it Basketball Wives? It's something where something had happened and the person was the Alexia. They almost kept the other person jumping through hoops. Which show was that? And I remember in that case, I said, if it was Adriana and Alexia, just like kind of switching up characters.
That's very Basketball Wives-y. I could see that being Basketball Wives.
In that case, I don't agree. You know what I mean? If it becomes one of these things where I'm going to make you jump through hoops, then I'm like, if I'm Adriana,
like, piss off.
Like, baby, I don't want to be your friend to begin with. Yeah. I don't know that Adriana has that much confidence. And I think she really does hold on to the notion of my friends are my family and I want to make my mother proud. And, I came to this country and this is what I'm trying to do. And she does feel isolated and she feels almost like she does sort of play the victim, but there's also a lot of reasons why she does that. It was a fantastic episode. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to mention from the party, but I was like This is a high rated episode, in my opinion. It gave me a lot. I don't need as much teardown as Housewives seems to want to give.
Yeah.
Housewives now wants to make it like, oh, you need to have like a Jen Shaw, you know, situation going on. And I don't think you do. I think you need to showcase the complexities of it.
Yeah.
Adriana, notice how I'm on her side as much as I'm on Alexia's side.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle, not because I don't want to make an opinion, but because it is challenging. It is like, damn, Alexia, like just take a beat, like receive it, move on. But then at the
Receive
same
it,
time,
let it sit let it marinate for a minute,
yeah,
and then really process how you're feeling. Because clearly Alexia doesn't know how she feels about the situation. She I know she knows and recognizes that she's offended, but she doesn't realize to what extent that she's offended. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Um, to what extent that she's offended. So therefore, she got what she wanted. You kind of have to accept that at that point. Again, don't make someone jump through hoops if that's not what you asked for. Don't make someone show you that they're sorry if that's not what you asked for. You asked for a genuine apology because my bad wasn't good enough, and you wanted them to single you out individually and say it. And that's exactly what Adriana did. So I will say, figure it out, figure out exactly what you want. Because again, you don't know where you're going in life until you know exactly what you want. So, same situation. You don't know where this friendship is going until you figure out what you want from it. So,
yeah,
you either want to pursue it or you don't, and you want it on certain terms or you don't. So, again,
I mean,
Adriana apologized. She even apologized to Frankie. Like,
mm,
I love Frankie. I adore him. All the things that she said about Frankie. And it still wasn't good enough for Alexia. And
yeah,
again, like you said, she doesn't need to jump all over it and be all about it, but she does need to receive it and take it. And you have to believe that someone is genuine and is doing the best that they can with what they have. Then that, like, Adriana was dealt a very hard hand of cards to deal with, to rebuttal from that.
well, that's why I think Alexia just needs to express herself. Like, Adriana, your apology, yes. Give me a week, give me a month. We do go back, but that hurt me to the core. Like,
Yeah.
I have a hard time. We got to rebuild. And I think that was really what my point was, that how
Yeah.
people just want an apology just so you could wash it off. Like, I
Yeah.
give you the apology, it's done. It's like, it's not done. I might need like 3 weeks to be like, did she really say this, insanely hurtful thing?
And still process it, because
And then
sometimes you don't even entirely process it that fast.
the hardest part is that it's so tough to defend Alexia because Alexia is so out there, and she really is up in everyone's business, and she's had
Problematic.
quite a few arguments, and I wasn't going to really get there, but she's had these moments. So within all that, I think that Alexia is still great television, and I think she's a really good woman. I think she does battle a lot of different things. Not like anything's wrong or she's depressed or anything, but she has held on to a lot. Something that really struck me in this episode was the way she said, I have to let my sons kind of go a little bit, and in turn they'll come back. And I was like, I mean, we got a television show going. Shout out to the producers for getting this soundbite from her, because
Yeah.
I don't buy the notion that Alexia is just a bad, problematic or loud housewife. I think there's something really sweet about her, and I'm glad we got to see it. But it was a home run for me. Last thoughts on the little party or the series in general, Russell?
I really can't wait for next season to come out. I really hope that it's just as explosive, and I hope we dive deeper. I want to see more. Again, I want to see the modeling happen. I want to see everything getting gertified. I want to see someone gertify. I want someone in the franchise to be gertified and have a Gertie moment. So I'm excited that they're back. I hope they don't go anywhere, but given today's times, day and times, you never know what's going to happen with any franchise. So I hope they're back for good, because I just want to see more. I love watching the Hispanic community grow, and I'm very, very, very excited that we have a Hispanic-based Housewives franchise.
And give us more Miami. Like, we want to see it all. We got a lot of it, and we definitely got a cinematic feel for it, but we want more Miami. We want more of what they're doing on their day-to-day. Yes, have Adriana go to a record label, have Adriana do something with Emilio, and it work or it not work. Let's see the process of what they're all trying to achieve. Let's get a camera that why don't we have a camera that follows Gertie when she's doing all of these events all over the country or internationally? Like, I know all that's a little bit more money, and you just want to do production, it works a little bit better to just have them all in one space, and it's right down the street, and show up and argue. But I think Housewives viewers and reality TV viewers are kind of ready for a little bit more. So if it's possible, yes, have Larsa that complicated, like, I'm a parent, but Sophia's 14 years old, but like she's living Larsa fabulous TV personality life and dating, Michael Jordan's son, Marcus. How the duality between raising your kids, but like she doesn't raise her kids in the way that's a traditional way. This is a much different lifestyle. Well, let's see it. That's not a knock on motherhood, but let's see it. I mean, let's see it. Okay, I guess we're done.
And let's see what happens with the reunion.
Yeah, so I think we'll do, we're going to do reunions. To me, are a little, you don't get a lot out of them. So let's take a beat on reunion, and then we'll come back when everything is aired, and we'll do a recap, and maybe add some surprises too, really jazz it up, and just kind of talk about the season in general. The reunion, yes, and then
we can even do an Instagram live and watch the reunion live. And
yes, lots of ideas.
We'll figure something out, but I want my live reactions to what's going on, even if I have to record myself. Just reacting to the reunion, because I'm very, very, very excited to see what drama comes up, because apparently Andy Cohen got so frustrated because he couldn't get a word in edgewise. This is something I should have asked him in Sydney. Well, I was right next to him. I should have asked him, but I didn't. So you can't take things back, and you can't go back in time. But
when you saw Andy, you were like, ah! You're like, is that Mr. Cohen? Ah! I mean, the resemblance.
Identical.
Matter
of fact, you should post that and tag Kiki.
Oh, Kiki loves our show. You know who else we love? What a season it's been. We've mentioned a lot of Dr. Anthony. Obviously, he's not Dr. Anthony, but I call him Dr. Anthony. Okay,
Mr. Dr. Anthony.
We've had so much love for Larsa. She's been in the limelight to a degree for so many years, so we got to just let her do what she does. Lisa, showcased a big divorce, which is not easy for anybody. She gave us a great television show. I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, I've seen it all, and we want more, but I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Dr. Nicole, from the beginning, we loved her this season. Obviously, I had a couple different moments where I wasn't as much following her, but she's great. She's wonderful, and we want to see her succeed. Gertie, just Gertifying everything. And Julia was Julia, and Alexia was Alexia, and Marisol was queen of the cockies, as she said. So it was a really great season, and I was very happy that we got to do this. Real Housewives of New Jersey. If you like that, go to Russell Ray's channel. Why don't you give us the handle to the channel?
You can head over to youtube.com/@RussellXRaymond. And there is a playlist called Real Housewives of Miami. And Real Housewives of New Jersey. And you will see us there every week talking about all the explosiveness. Hopefully, Joe and Teresa stop fighting so we can finally get over that storyline, because it's been 6 seasons, too long.
Very true.
But if you haven't caught up, go check it out. I'll be there. Leave me a comment. Drop me a follow, a subscribe, a DM, or whatever you kids call it today. Do it all. Bring your Jersey accents, because it's going to get fun.
To follow more, it's russellraysilva.com. To follow more for me, it's randomlyronniejr.com. And to make it rain on my Patreon, which I just put up some new Patreon content yesterday, patreon.com/randomlyronniejr. And I really came into my own as to what was going to be the big thing that I push on the Patreon. If Larsa did OnlyFans for feet, Randomly Ronnie Jr. found his niche on Patreon. But it's not my feet. It's not my feet. It's my beautiful voice. I got a good voice. All right. Sad to call it the end of the season, but it was a great watch with all of these ladies. And now it is time for us to say goodbye. All right, Russell, we'll talk to you on the next one.
See ya.
Ronnie Jr.